Hello, my crafty friends. Welcome. I have a really unique stamp set to show you in today's video. It's from Spellbinders, and it is their Clear Stamp and Die of the Month Club Kit for December 2021. Here is a look at it. And I also have the dies. You can buy it with or without the dies. They are separate clubs for each of those. But this one is called Color Outside the Lines. And it is a really fun layering stamp set as well. So you get these 4 pretty flowers. They're just dainty and pretty. And then you get the little shapes to stamp the color on the insides of these flowers. There are several letter stamps that you can spell out love you, or hey love, or even lovey. There's a solid wonky oval stamp, and then you have the dies that cut out some of these stamps. So I'm going to create a couple of cards using this today, and the first thing I wanted to do was to create my own pattern paper using these pretty flower stamps. So I'm going to stamp them all out with some VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. This is a nice thick ink. I'm stamping them onto a piece of Neenah Solar White 110-pound cardstock. And I'm just turning my acrylic block so they're facing all directions. These stamps are really nice photopolymer stamps, but I'm still trying not to press down too hard. I like the delicate lines of these. Sometimes I don't stamp them out completely, so I have to look through my acrylic block to restamp it. Like that one there, and I was lucky I was able to match up the lines. But this is a really nice ink, but it does have a tendency, or rather I have a tendency of getting it all over the place. I do end up with a few smudges on my cards today, but I will fix those. Once I'm done stamping all of these flowers, I'm going to use the layering stamps to add color. And I pulled out a bunch of pinks and even a plum-colored ink to color the insides of these flowers. This is a really fast and nice way to color in your stamped images. Now, these second stamps, the layering stamps, don't perfectly fit the lines of your flowers, but that's the point of this stamp set, is coloring outside the lines. But it gives it just kind of a fun, shabby chic look to it. I really like it. So now I'm going in with some really pale pink ink. This one is from Gina K. I'm using just a variation of inks here. Some are from My Favorite Things, some are Gina K, and some are Memento Teardrop ink pads. I'll have all of these products listed in the description box below if you're interested in checking them out. I'm going to bring in another pale pink ink from Memento. And this one is a really pale pink, very soft. But once I'm done with all of the stamping, I'm going to pull out my Spellbinders Large Die of the Month set from July and create a slimline card with this. I'll first cut it out with the scalloped edge die. Once I find a place where I want to cut it out. And here it is. Isn't that pretty with the scalloped edge? I'm going to set this aside and work on the sentiment next. I'm going to stamp out this oval stamp with more of the Gina K soft pink ink. This is a dye ink and it dries really fast. I'm going to stamp it out a few times just to have extras on hand. I'll stamp out the letters next so that my sentiment will say, hey, and then I'm going to stamp one of the sentiments inside the oval that says friend. These have just delicate flowers on them as well. I'm just going to color those in with a Copic marker. Now let's stamp out friend in one of these ovals. And then I'll go ahead and die cut these. Isn't that cute? I really like the look of these letters cut out as well. But I'll go ahead and color in those teeny tiny flowers with a Copic marker. To matte my scalloped panel, I'm bringing in the plum ink again, and I'm just going to ink blend it around the edges of this larger panel. I don't need to worry about the center because that will be covered up. I just wanted some color behind it. I'm also going to cut out a black rectangle to glue my letters onto. This rectangle also came from the Spellbinders Large Die of the Month from July of 2021. I'll link to this set. I believe they still have it in their shop, but it's a really nice builder set for your stash. Next, I'm going to glue on the oval beneath the hay. And now we can start putting this card together. The sentiment I'm going to pop up with some foam adhesive and just put it right down the center of the card. This card measures 6.5 by 3.5, and I added a few pink gems around the outside of this panel. So this is one idea of what you can do with this month's stamp set. It's so versatile and fun. The sky's the limit with this one. On my next card, I'm going to create a standard A2 size card using my hem stitch rectangle dies from Spellbinders. This will just give the white card panel a little more interest. And this one's a really fast card. I'm going to stamp out more of these cute wonky ovals with this Gina K pink ink. And I stamp out more than I need just in case I mess up. I also used the light pink Memento ink, but I didn't end up using those ovals. Next, I'm going to stamp out the flowers again inside of these ovals. And I want all three of them to be different. I'll let this black ink dry for a few minutes. It does take a little bit longer for this Nocturne ink to dry. And then I'm going to stamp some color on these flowers using some My Favorite Things hybrid ink. And again, they don't perfectly line up, but that's what gives it its charm. I love layering stamp sets. I think they're so much fun to play with. And if you don't feel like coloring these in by hand, it's just nice to pull out your inks and quickly color them in with inks. I'm going to put 3 of these in the center of this card, but I'm going to stamp out my sentiments before I adhere them down. At the bottom, I'm going to stamp color outside the lines, and at the top, I'm going to stamp the sentiment that says Be Bold. I have several spots of ink on this panel, but I'm going to hide them with some embellishments in just a minute. I'll pop this onto a piece of Poppy Fields cardstock. And then the little flower ovals, I'm going to pop up with some foam adhesive. I'll put the 2 side ones down first, and then it's easier to center the middle one, or to perfectly align it between these 2. And this is a very simple card, but I really like the look of this one. I'm pulling out some silver gems, and I'll just hide those ink blotches. I tried to erase it with my sand eraser, but it didn't completely come out. So that's when gems or embellishments really come in handy. Here is a close-up look at the finished card. So I hope this gave you some fun inspiration on how to use this stamp set of the month for December. And again, it's called Color Outside the Lines. I used a leftover piece on the inside of this card. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I hope you all have a wonderful crafty day. Take care. Bye.